All right, welcome to the shop again. Let me show you what I'm working on. Built a bunch of these picture frames, and this is just for a puzzle that I'll put in here. I'll put this thing over here. Let's see what I can do here. I'll show you some of the joints that I made for the corners. They're half lap joints. Okay, so let me loosen the clamps up a little bit. So half laps. Hang on, come on. Basically look just like that. So you just hog out half the material on both pieces equally. So when you put them together, right, everything's nice and flush. If I can get this thing together now that I took it apart. So just like that. And gluing this thing up, I made the half lap joints on the table saw. And to check it for square, I'm using these carpenter's pencils. I think they're 1/4 inch thick, but basically it's just raising up my clamp. So when I put my square on it, I can check my corners. My square was bumping into this, so I had to raise the clamp. But once I get this thing clamped up, it squares right up. So it's kind of nice. The other nice thing to have if you're into woodworking or you want to get into it, don't buy cheap clamps, which I did, and I should have been just saving my money or spending my money on good quality clamps. Pipe clamps are good. This aluminum one is from Harbor Freight. It's decent, but these parallel clamps are real nice, and everybody makes them. You know what I mean? Irwin, Jacobson, Jet, Pony. I think that everybody's making them. So, but these are nice to have, and they basically, when you start clamping them, they square up everything and keep everything square, and they don't bow like other clamps do, and then your work gets all bowed. They don't do that, so they keep everything parallel. They're nice clamps to have. They come in different sizes. These are 24-inch clamps. So I'd like to get some 12s and 18s, and then some 30s, 36s. You know, you want to expand that a little bit. But anyway, get some parallel clamps. This will just be a picture frame. My 1/4 inch carpenter's pencils are there just to raise the clamps up so I can get my square into each corner after I get done gluing them up. Make sure that this thing's staying square. Get yourself a good quality square if you can. Spend a little bit of money on it. That's not the best square, but it is square, so it works. But don't cheap out on stuff like that. It's just your quality will thank you. But anyway, just gluing this thing up today. It's Sunday. I want to glue up this thing and then get the next step going on it. So talk to you in a bit. All right, so I'll show you how I glue this thing up. It's pretty easy. I'm using Titebond 3. You can get it at Menards or Home Depot or wherever. Popular glue. I'll show you the bottle in a second here. Let me clean it off. Right. But it's just Titebond 3, and it's a good waterproof interior glue. And I use it for cutting boards. Anything that's going to be in the sink, you know what I mean, getting cleaned, any utensils, anything like that. Basically, just throw a bunch of glue on. I see guys when they glue up boards, they'll glue up one or apply glue to one surface, right? And then they'll just put the second piece on dry. I like glue on both surfaces. Get started to get worked into the fibers. Okay. That's just the way I do it. Something like this, you can't forget that this edge here on both pieces needs glue. Okay, so whatever side you're doing, make sure you get that surface on both sides. I put I'm experimenting on parchment paper instead of wax paper to protect my my table saw or whatever. You know what I mean, you put stuff down for glue drips, things like that. I'm trying this parchment paper. I used it the other day when I put some hodgepodge or something, Mod Podge. It's for puzzles. Clear coat your puzzles. And it got on there, and it's like a wax paper, but this stuff didn't stick to it real well, which is good. So I'm going to try it with the glue. Let's see if the glue falls off. It's cheap. The wife gets it from wherever for baking and cooking in the oven. So you say it doesn't really, I mean, it goes in the oven. So I don't think it's a wax that's on there. I don't know what it is, Teflon or something. All right, so both those surfaces are done. That's done. These surfaces need a little bit of glue. Again, I just like to get it started in the fiber of every piece. I didn't do these sides. Just a little bit in there. Start working into the wood. And I like to clean my brushes after I'm done gluing with water, but this stuff here is it's water resistant glue, so don't clean up that easy. And again, get parallel clamps. These things are nice to have. They just help keep everything square. Okay, do that. A couple of these here. Then we'll start checking for square and cleaning glue off. So, this one here is, that's, like I told you, is a Harbor Freight clamp, and it's decent. So I need to get a couple more of them. They're cheap, right? Harbor Freight. So, pipe clamps are nice. They work really good. I don't put a lot of pressure on my clamps, just enough. Square this thing up. See where we're sitting. It's close. Still a little out of square. Sometimes with these parallel clamps are not perpendicular or parallel with what you're doing, it'll rack it a little bit, right? That felt like it took right there. Let's see, where did I put me? Still just a little out. That did it right there. I'm liking that, and then we'll just slowly creep some pressure up on it. Right? Just a little bit. Got enough glue, it's dripping all over the place. Yeah, the parallel clamps just really brought it into play. Just put a little bit of pressure both ways like that. I don't want to put too much. Now I got to put corner clamps on. I just use these ponies, these squeeze clamps. There's some squeeze out there. Keep some pressure on that. And these half lap joints on something like this will give you a lot of strength. I tried mitered joints end to end grain, and I had one picture frame fail on me at the joint. So I'm getting away from mitered joints and just use, that's it. That looked out really good. So that's basic glue up. A little bit more pressure, not much. let this thing sit. I'll wipe off the excess, right? Get all of that off of there, and we'll come back later and clean it up even more. Leave it sit for about an hour. Then they say you can remove the clamps. So sometimes I like to let it sit on there for a little bit more than that. Glue ups can be stressful. You got a lot of things going, glue's drying. The other nice thing about this Titebond 3, they say it gives you a longer open time, working time with the glue. So that's another reason to use it. Some of the other glue, it starts setting up real quick, causing you all kinds of problems. So if you're gluing up a ton of boards, stuff starts sticking and give you real big headaches. Anyway, that's that. Talk to you in a bit here.